The channel is closing in on 40,000 subscribers and your support would be greatly appreciated. In the world of aviation, safety and reliability are paramount. Airlines, employees and more are all responsible for the safety of tens of millions per year. And for your aircraft manufacturers, well, their job lies with building a plane that is safe enough to transport all these people. Airlines and aircraft manufacturers do work tirelessly to ensure that their fleets meet the highest standards. This involves regular maintenance checks and so much more on top of that. However, even the most reputable companies can face their challenges. I think that's only been highlighted in recent years, and one such challenge I would love to cover here on the channel has been the relationship between Qatar Airways and Airbus, which over recent years has been fractured. The surface defect saga involving the Airbus A350 series and its repercussions, including order cancellations and groundings, shook the aviation industry and notably tore a hole in the Qatar and Airbus relationship across an 18-month period. But what truly happened? Why were there discrepancies in both stories? What's the status in 2023? And why were so many orders cancelled during this year-and-a-half-long period? Qatar Airways has greatly supported the A350 since the launch, only really highlighted through their substantial growth with the plane and commitments that exist. However, the real birth of these issues with the A350 began in 2021, when the Doha-based airline sent newly delivered aircraft back to Airbus for key inspections. At the time, we didn't know a whole lot on what was going on, but certainly these weren't normal circumstances. What eventually was identified to the general public was that there were issues identified with the aircraft's surface, notably underneath the paintwork. After some time and inspections on the aircraft, a perfect picture began to unfold. Qatar Airways believed they had identified a crucial surface defect with the series, on newly delivered aircraft especially, and these defects posed a safety risk to their operations with the 350. Interestingly, by all accounts, Airbus of course didn't deny the surface defect issue, but what was strongly denied was the safety repercussions it would have, with Airbus saying they were nil, and this was backed up by other carriers' stance that experienced something similar, and didn't really believe that the safety concerns were present. If anything, the European plane maker believed that Qatar Airways' comments that didn't have substance behind them were negatively impacting the reputation of the A350 and potentially steering sales away from it, which of course is a cause for concern. By May and June of 2021, things escalated only further. With a view to ensuring its operations were safe, Qatar Airways began questioning Airbus over the matter, going as far as stating that the relationship was very fractured and the company had some very big concerns. Qatar made it very clear that its passengers' safety and well-being was just something that wasn't negotiable, and it expected Airbus to rectify any issues that it found promptly. It sought also compensation for these issues, but struggled to really receive any. By June, the European aircraft manufacturer confirmed that deliveries for the A350 to Qatar Airways had been suspended. This is when you could argue things were really hitting their heights, and many people were questioning what the relationship of Qatar and Airbus would look like going forward. This was really again the beginning of a larger escalating problem though, with only a matter of months later, Qatar Airways grounding their A350s over the fear of safety concerns that it believed Airbus were not proactively working towards fixing. Now it's worth mentioning that not all their Airbus A350s were grounded, but it was in the double digits, which highlights enough. All this soured the relationship further. However, as briefly touched on a little bit earlier in the video, these safety concerns that Qatar Airways spoke of were hardly something that was present at other airlines, and also the key European regulator. While the EASA had been made aware of the issue that was impacting the aircraft, they actually didn't believe it was worthy of the outroar, and had, say, a safety issue on the plane that would warrant them to be grounded. Amidst the surface defect saga, Qatar Airways and Airbus faced another significant challenge in their relationship. when in 2022, Airbus cancelled a major order for the A321neo aircraft, an integral part of Qatar Airways' fleet expansion plans. The cancellation of this order was a blow for both parties. It was only further beaten by the beginning of cancellations again by Airbus for A350s placed by Qatar Airways. With deliveries not commencing and these aircraft sitting around and valuable slots there, Airbus wanted to shift these delivery slots to other companies that could pounce on the available slots. These cancellation issues would peak in 2022 when Airbus would cancel all remaining A350 orders from Qatar Airways, as part of a massive escalation between the two. This was after much talk over it occurring, but not necessarily the confirmation coming in, again until this point. Tensions escalated so far that these proceedings were eventually taken to court, with the pair battling it out. While not needing to go into the inner workings of the legal system, Qatar Airways was really coming with a mission to acquire compensation for the damages that they believed they faced over groundings and also suspended deliveries. In the months that followed the court battles, despite the relationship that is normally hugely pivotal to the success of both companies being fractured, communication was open to find a way to settle the dispute. By the early stages of 2023, the legal case did come to an end, as the pair finally settled their differences and decided to move on, with deliveries being cleared to resume, the orders being reinstated, and so much more. Following this, it was highlighted that a repair project was underway to get the planes back in the sky safely on Qatar Airways' authority and move forward with future deliveries, as I mentioned. At the end of the day, while this was an 18-month spat, it can't be disregarded how important Airbus is for Qatar Airways and how important Qatar Airways is for Airbus. They work together as a pair, and that is why this 18-month period had such an impact on both companies. The surface defect saga involving the A350 series was challenging for Qatar Airways and Airbus. It really did test the strength of their partnership and highlighted the critical importance of safety in our industry. It also highlighted that sometimes situations that shouldn't spiral out of control like this do, and then they can substantially hurt both parties. Qatar Airways and Airbus overcame the challenges posed by the surface defect issues eventually, and now are looking to mend their relationship and move ahead as partners long into the future. With the cancellation of the A321neo as well, it brought another aircraft type into the mix, alongside not even mention the 737 MAX order that Qatar Airways placed. While all of this represented a setback, you could say that the trust has potentially been mended. Today, in 2023, almost 2024, Qatar Airways continues to operate with the A350, which is safe and reliable for them, and the relationship between the two remains resilient. It really emphasizes overall, though, the enduring importance of safety in our industry, and how you have to make sure that every single thing lines up adequately, or else something like this can happen again. What are your thoughts on the Airbus and Qatar Airways relationship that really collapsed over an 18-month period? While the key catalyst was the A350 surface defect saga, ultimately other aircraft types would become involved. You can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support right here on GlobeTrotting. Make sure you stay subscribed for any future analysis content. Take care and be safe, and I'll see you next time for another video.